How do people do this? How do people hold them like this? She asked me, really, do you love me? I said, hi, what's up everyone? My name is FrankieW and welcome back to my channel. So something I've wanted to do on my channel for a really long time is talk about my books and talk about like the books I read, the movies and TV shows I watch, and just like the type of like media I consume. So this is my first reading roundup video. I actually filmed this intro on my camera, and just like for some reason when I was recording the thing for Harry, the Harry vlog that comes out before this, so it's up there if you want to watch it. I don't remember if it's on this side or this side, but yeah, my camera was out of focus the whole time, so I have to check that there's not an issue with my camera. But I love reading. I actually have boxes on boxes of books, and my room is still very new and very empty, so I don't have a bookshelf yet, but I ordered one from IKEA and it should be coming soon, and I'll take you along with me for figuring out how to decorate my shelf. But by the time this video goes up, it'll be well into October. I randomly took a little YouTube break. Don't ask me why, I really don't know. But well, there were personal reasons, but also I just like stopped. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the books that I read this month, and I also read some of these in August because I only read like 3 in August and 4 in September, so I put them together, but like don't tell anyone. I'm like I'm not even in the book community, I'm just on the fringe. But specifically August was pretty gay. We had Gearbreakers and Godslayers by my friend Zoe, and then we had Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. So we had Boy Meets Boy and Girl Meets Girl and Destroys Robot. But that's pretty much how August was for me. I gush about Gearbreakers a lot. My friend Zoe, who I met at Semester at Sea, she wrote the book. I love these books, and it's a love story between two girls. During the end of the world, like kind of the back print is like a war going on. So I think it's one of those fantasy dystopian book series that a lot of people really love, but it's like with women of color, queer women of color, and it's such a beautiful story. And I think so many people, like I know so many people are reading it, but I want so many more people to read it. I am Zoe's one-woman publicity team. I will talk to anyone about this book, and even our friends. Like I stayed on FaceTime telling Chris the entire plot, and he was like, dang, I have to read it for myself, like you're just like taking up the thing. So I asked Zoe if there's anything she wanted me to say about her books, and she just told me to tell you guys that she loved me, and I will show proof because it seems like I'm lying. But one of the things that was so interesting, I think I read it in her notes, in her acknowledgement. In her acknowledgement, she says, this was supposed to be a book about mecha sword fights and angry kids, but it ended up being more along the lines of a love story, as these things usually turn out. A rom-com with robots, if you will. If you read the whole book before reading these words, you might absolutely despise me for saying it, but I think it's a little bit funny. And besides, that would mean you did read the whole book, so you can detest me all you like. I have so much love for you. Thank you for everything. And that's what she says. That's the first paragraph of her acknowledgements. And when I tell you I got to the end of this book, I like sent her a voice memo, and I was like, Zoe, Hana Mikuta, how dare you do that to me? How dare you end this book like this? How dare you do that? But I was lucky enough that I had the second book on me. I cannot imagine reading this when it came out. I would have been hounding her for the next book for so long. But yes, Gearbreakers is about, I'm trying really hard not to spoil it, so let's think like, you know, those like really big Megazords and Power Rangers, or like the Voltron made out of like different, think of like that, like a robot that size being controlled by one person, and they have this initiative where like they're controlling these robots, and basically they're ruling the world. So that's like the capital of the Hunger Games, what's another dystopian book that I can use? I'm gonna use The Hunger Games. So if the capital is Gadolia and everyone there has these big robots protecting them, and it's like they're like the law enforcement, basically, like the peacekeepers. And then I was using all types of examples. I was like, Real Steel meets Voltron meets, and yeah, so then there's people like Eris or Frostbringer, and her and other Gearbreakers is what they're called. They specialize in like taking out these robots, and they're part of the revolution and stuff, and it's really interesting, and I really don't want to get into it, but like both books together, there's so many twists and turns, and like oh my gosh, I could compare it to so many other things, but I can't talk about the second book if you haven't read the first one. So this is your like spoiler warning for the second book. In the second book, I was out here like, there's a Snowpiercer element because we have people from the inside who are moles the whole time. Are you kidding me? That was Zoe, you're insane. Like, both these books were so good. They were so good, and I like still think about them. And I just love that series so much, and like it's the first time like I've had, like, not the first, there's a couple books where this has happened to me, but I remember reading the end of The School for Good and Evil and like slamming the book closed and being like, what the fuck? And that's how Gearbreakers left me at the end. And then I immediately picked up Godslayers, and I think I read it in a day, and I texted her and I was like, bro, we gotta talk. And then the only other thing in my little queer mini August read that's attached to the September read is Heartstoppers Volume 1. I love how everyone calls it Heartstoppers and not Heartstopper, but Heartstopper Volume 1, Boy Meets Boy, Nick and Charlie. I feel like there's not much I can say about this now because Alice Oseman, Bessie blew up. Like, everybody's talking about Alice Oseman because not only is there her webtoon, now book, there's also now graphic novel, and then obviously her other books, and then there's also the Netflix series that I did binge in one day, but I already read the entire webcomic on Webtoons, so I'm fully caught up, but I wanted to buy the physical books to show my support and just talk more about the books because I love, and they're just blue, like the cool tones of this book are insane. So yes, Heartstopper, Nick and Charlie, Tara and Darcy, Ellen Tao, and there's, I think his name is Eliad, or Eliad is how you say it, and Eliad is like, and Charlie's sister are more important in the other books is what I get told. Like, they're like side characters in the other books that got like full spin-offs, so that's really interesting. So I know I want to read more from Alice Oseman after I read the Heartstopper comics, but I'm also in this like comic and webtoon moment where I'm just reading comics all the time, and I could show you all the webtoon comics I'm reading, but if the list is getting a little long, maybe I'll do a whole video on just webtoon comics. But yes, that was my little mini queer read for August, and then we have like 3 mangas and a book for September officially, even though I'm putting them together because I was like, this is a short recap. My Hero Academia is a graphic novel by Horikoshi, and it is about a world of quirks. So quirks, I would say, are like your superpower. So it's like you're born in this world with a special ability. It's set in the future, and it's like everyone's born with it. After this one baby was born glowing, everyone started being born with these supernatural abilities, like whether it's invisibility or permeation or hardening or explosions or mind control, like all these different types of quirks. And then there's like useless motherfuckers like this. You have these special abilities, and then there are people who want to become superheroes because of their special abilities. And it's kind of like, it's such an interesting premise, and there are so many chapters, like, and for the My Hero Academia fans, like, I am already spoiled. I already know what happens, even though I don't want to know what happens, which is kind of why I started reading the mangas because I was just watching the anime, and then manga spoilers would come out every day. So I was like, I might as well start reading the manga. And then, then there's like All Might, who's the number one hero. He's like he's the symbol of peace, but he's also like the equivalent to like Superman, almost, how you're like, he's the number one and stuff like that. So, and then our main character is Midoriya Izuku. He's actually someone who doesn't have a quirk originally, and he's like one in a million chances. Like, he's a quirkless, powerless person in this like super powered, quirked society. And it's really interesting because this is also a commentary on like prioritization and like treatment and discrimination. And it's so interesting to see those things also incorporated and how differently people are treated because of their abilities and stuff like that. And My Hero Academia is one of my favorite animes. I know people have their opinions on it, don't want to hear it. I like My Hero Academia. I have a Plus Ultra shirt and an All Might windbreaker from Nami wear that I wear all the time. Besides, like, the only other anime like merch I think I have like a Phantom Troop shirt from Hot Topic, then my Hunter jacket from Hypeland, and I think that's it for like, I have more, but it's like Haikyuu. Actually, I have a lot of Haikyuu merch. But yeah, I read volume 1. I've read it before, but I reread it because I knew I was gonna officially start reading the series. And then I read volume 2 and volume 3. So I read those in September, and we're officially at the sports festival. So what's next? Oh my gosh, I'm only at the sports festival. I have so much trauma to go through, jeez. And then the only other book I read in September is The War on Worlds, and I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't even really finish it, and I listened to the audio recording of it instead because I don't know, it's like the writing, like this book is so interesting and aliens are so interesting to me, and like the idea of like aliens from Mars like monitoring us and being ahead of us, and like knowing that they're ahead of us, so they're like planning an attack preemptively and then attack us, and like how like that is I personally believe that there is life out there, right? And this book is so interesting. Also, at one point during the summer, I had binged the newer seasons of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and the new girl Spooner is reading this version of the book in one of the episodes, and it's so funny because I just grabbed this in Scotland because like it was buy one get one, and I like saw a different version of the Catcher in the Rye cover that I wanted, even though like Holden Caulfield's like we're not going to talk about Holden yet, but yeah, I got this book because of the cover, really, and I love aliens, and it was just so funny. But for those who've never heard this book, which I don't know how many that is, it's just about like when an alien capsule lands on Horsell Common, woking crowds of astonished onlookers gather, but wonder soon turns to terror. When the Martians emerge, armed with deadly heat rays, the aliens begin their conquest of Earth, confronted by powers beyond our control, a technology far in advance of our own, and a race of alien invaders that regard us as no more than ants. Humankind faces extinction. While the world crumbles under the shadow of the Martian menace, one man sets out alone across the desolate wasteland to find his wife. And I think that's such an interesting premise. And I think like really like we talk about aliens and like the idea that the moon landing's faked and all these different like concepts all the time, but like something so different about like when we're gonna meet aliens and they're not gonna be like as smart as us. They're all like the idea that aliens are smarter than us is the only idea that like I truly believe, because there's no way like there's not life out there. And also I was reading this around the time that I saw Nope, so I was like mad suspicious of everything. Like after watching Nope, I would not look at the clouds the same. And then reading this, it just made me mad paranoid. But yeah, that is my reading roundup for September. I don't really want to like rate the books in any way, but I'd say that like these were my fastest reads. Gearbreakers was my Godslayers was my fastest for sure, but like Gearbreakers was my fastest read because they're together. The War of Worlds was my slowest read, and then of like the graphic comics, I liked them equally. But that's my reading vlog. I will be posting my October one before the end of October, so you're getting like 2 of these, my little reading roundups coming quick at you. And yeah, I'm gonna try and post more of them. You're also gonna see a vlog when my bookshelf is actually delivered and built, because I have not unpacked my books, and I want to buy a new Percy Jackson series because I actually don't have a physical copies of those, and I want to reread those before the TV show comes out. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do TBRs because my TBR is too long right now, but I'll keep you updated when I'm reading. September was a bit of a slow month. But yeah, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Hope this wasn't too boring, me just talking to you and ranting about books. I want to do it again, talking about TV shows and movies, so we'll see when I start doing that. And yeah, subscribe, like, comment, all those YouTube things. Whoa, where your brains go? Tryna get that picture with me, better catch my angles. Yeah. She asked me, really, do you love me? I said, no.